Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan, guys. We are going through Mukhtasar al-Qudoori. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit the like, subscribe button, hit the bell button, and share the videos with other ones as well. Other people as well, other students. Right, so let's get on with this lesson. We are going through Kitab al-Wakala. Let me know how much you enjoy this series as well. Wal-uqud. Uqud, it means contracts. Okay, so aqad, contracts. Yaqid, to contract. Wakala is the jam of wakil. Darbain, two types. Adafa, yudifu, idafa. Right, to attribute. Right, so to attribute. Wakil nafsihi, huquq is the rights. Tata'allaq, to be attached. Yusallim, to hand over. Right, so to hand over and over. Yaqbid qabada, to take possession. Talaba yutalibu, to demand. Idashtara, to purchase. Yaqbidu, to take hold of. Yukhasimu is to debate, or to argue with. Wa kullu aqdin, aqad is a contract. Yudifu, we've done that before. See, a lot of these are so repeated that there's no word for it. Nikah is marriage. Khula is when a woman asks for divorce. Sulh is out of court settlement. Dam amd. Dam means blood. Amad means deliberate. فإن حقوقه rights تعلق موكل دون الوكيل. Okay, تسليم, to hand over. منع يمنع, to stop. Okay, يطالب رجلا, man. تسمية, to name. Jins is type, and what sifa is description, and then mablagh is total. إلا أن يوكله وكالة عامة is general. Ibta, to buy. Amr, ibta. Amara ya'muru. Ibta'a yabta'u. وقبض المبيع عيب is defect. Dama is dama yadumu, to last, long. Right. ولم يدري. Okay, so this is actually a mistake. It's supposed to be يرده. لم يرده. Anyway, these mistakes happen. Right, so let's do the tarkib then. Tarkib. Okay, so والعقود مبتدأ يعقدها الوكلاء فاعل. كل عقد مبتدأ يضيفه أضاف يضيف الوكيل فاعل إلى نفسه مثل البيع والإجارة. فحقوق ذلك العقد تتعلق بالوكيل دون الموكل. فيسلم المبيع ويقبض الثمن ويطالب بالثمن إذا اشترى. ويقبض المبيع مفعول به ويخاصم بالعيب. وكل عقد يضيفه إلى موكله كالنكاح والخلع والصلح من دم العمد فإن حقوقه اسم of إن تتعلق بالموكل. Again, I'm sure you guys know how to do this. دون الوكيل فلا يطالب الوكيل فلا يطالب وكيل الزوج بالمهر ولا يلزم وكيل المرأة تسليمها. إذا طالب الموكل المشتري فله أن يمنعه إياه فإن دفعه إليه جاز فعل فاعل. ولم يكن للوكيل أن يطالبه به ثانيا. ومن وكل رجلا بشراء شيء فلا بد من تسمية جنسه وصفته أو جنسه ومبلغ ثمنه إلا أن يوكله وكالة عامة مفعول مطلق. فيقول ابتع لي ما رأيته. وإذا اشترى الوكيل فعل فاعل وقبض المبيع مفعول به ثم اطلع على عيب فله أن يرده بالعيب ما دام المبيع بيده فإن سلمه الموكل لم is supposed to be يرد. Okay, so يرده إلا بإذنه. Okay, right, so let's have a go at explaining this then. Let's see if we can explain all of this. So al-uqud allati, so there are two types of wakil. Okay, so imagine, for example, let's say this is the muwakkil. Muwakkil is the guy that appoints an agent. There's two types of agents you get out there. Okay, so wakil, two types. All right, so one is the type that attributes everything to himself, and one is a type that attributes to others. So himself and to the muwakkil. To the muwakkil. So to himself and to muwakkil. Any contract in which he attributes something to himself, then there's rules regarding it, right? So, first of all, what kind of contracts do you attribute to yourself? So, for example, trade, renting, leasing, anything like that. Monetary sort of transactions, deals that you do. What kind of transaction do you attribute to your muwakkil? Then this goes, like for example, marriage, nikah, right? Or for example, khula, where the woman wants divorce, or sulh. Yeah. What does this mean then? So for example, let's say the muwakkil sends the wakil to buy or sell something, or to rent something. In that case, what's going to happen is that the muwakkil, the wakil himself, all the rules are going to apply to him. Anything to do with a court case, anything to do with problems in the item, it's going to all go back to the muwakkil. But if the wakil, right? So it's going to all the way back to him. If, however, the muwakkil sends the wakil to get him married. So for example, let's say there's a lady he wants to marry, right? So the muwakkil says to the wakil, go on, marry her off to me. Tell her that I want to marry her. So this is called nikah or khula. Let's say she is the muwakkil and she sends him that she wants a divorce. Go to my husband and tell him I want a divorce. Or sulh, or this is, for example, let's say there's a murder or something, right? So for instance, so nikah obviously is, he wants to get married. This can be from the man's side or the woman's side. So the man can ask for the woman, but he's too shy to ask her. He doesn't know how to speak to her. So he sends a wakil to go and marry, yeah? Or she wants khula, yeah? So she wants a divorce, so she sends him. Or sulh. So sulh would be where, let's say, for example, this guy has killed, right, so RIP, he's dead. Now his family, they want blood money, right? They want blood money. So this guy now, he doesn't know what to do. So what he does is he sends a wakil, right? He sends a wakil, and this wakil goes and speaks to them, and then sorts out some deal of what to pay. So all of these things, so whether it's nikah, where the guy wants to get married and you send someone to speak to the lady, or the lady wants to get married, she goes and says, speak to him for me. Khula or sulh, all of these, the rules is they all go back to the muwakkil. All the rules. He is the one that is getting married, not the wakil. So all the rules go back. Yeah. So that's basically what this is all about. So let's have a look at this. So he says, وَالْأُقُودُ, and the contracts, التي يعقده الوكلاء, the one that the wukala is the jam of wakil, the agent's contract, على ضربين, two types. فَكُلُّ عقد, every contract, يُضِيفُ الوكيل, where the wakil attributes it to himself, like for example, in trade and renting, فَحُقُوقُ ذَلِكَ الْعَقد, then the rights of that contract, تَتَعَلَّقُ بِالْوَكِيلِ, are all attached to the wakil. What does that mean? It means if anything goes wrong, then the courts will summon the wakil, not the muwakkil. دون الموكل فيسلم المبيع, so therefore the wakil has to hand over the goods if he is the seller. So if I want him to sell my car. He is the one that has to hand over the goods to the buyer. وَيَقْبِضُ الثَّمَنِ He is the one that is going to go and collect the money from them. وَيُطَالَبْ He is the one that's going to be demanded for the money إِذَا اشْتَرَى If he buys something for me. So if I tell him to go and buy me a cup of coffee, he goes to buy a cup of coffee. Now they want the money. They're not going to come to me. They're going to go to him. وَيَقْبِضُ الْمَبِيء And if he's going to buy something, he's the one that's going to pick up the goods. وَيُخَاسِمْ بِالْعَيْبِ He is the one that's going to go, if there's a fault in the item, to go and return it back. Right? So all of this goes back to him, meaning he basically acts as though he is the one that is buying it for himself. But he's not buying it for himself really. He's buying it for himself technically. But reality is going to go all the way back to the muwakkil eventually. So that's the wakil in those contracts that he attributes to himself. So he goes to the shop and says, I want to buy some meat and I want to buy some bread and I want to buy. But in reality, he's buying it for his muwakkil. Make sense? Now, as for the other type, this is where كل عقد يضيفه إلى موكله, where he attributes it to his muwakkil, not to himself. Right? كالنكاح, like nikah, marriage. والخل, like divorce on the woman's side. صلح من دم عمد. صلح from دم عمد means deliberate murder. Murder that's of the highest degree. Right? So he's killed someone, like over here, this guy's killed someone, and now they obviously want instead of life, they want his blood money. Not his blood money. They want the blood money. Now this guy doesn't know how to speak to them, so he might send a wakil because he's more eloquent. He can go and speak to them. So فَإِنَّ حُقُوقَهُ تَتَعَلَّقْ بِالْمُوَكِّلِ The rights all are related to the muwakkil. Right? So in all of this, دون الوكيل فلا يطالب, therefore the wakil of the zawj. So let's say, for example, this is the woman, this is the wakil, the middleman, right? So he is the Mr. W, call him Mr. W. So he is the one that is going to be dealing between them. And this guy is the muwakkil. Let's put muwakkil there. Mean for muwakkil. Right, so he is the one that's everything's gonna come back to him. So it says, فَلَا يُطَالَبْ وَكِيلُ الزَّوْجِ The wakil of zawj is not going to be demanded for the mahar. Like the woman's not going to say, excuse me, where's the mahar? He didn't say, well, I have nothing to do with this. The marriage was between you and between the muwakkil. Right? بِالْمَحْرِ وَلَا يَلْزَمْ وَكِيلُ الْمَرْأَةِ And, let me just... Okay, so... لا يلزم وكيل المرأة. So wakil of the woman, so if he was the one that's going to him, like she was basically asking him to go marry. So لا يلزم وكيل المرأة تسليمها. She doesn't have to hand over her. She doesn't have to hand her over to him. Right? So, like he's saying, you married me off to this woman. Where is my wife? So he will not be demanded to hand over the strangers in it. He will not be asked, I'm waiting here, it's 7 o'clock and my bride still hasn't come to my house. So this guy will not be taken to court because of that. Right? That's going to be the lady's responsibility, her family. Okay. Make sense? Right? This is basically wakala. Wakala is a nice chapter. Right? So once you understand it, it's very interesting. Right, so let's have a look at the next situation now. So let's say, for example, this is the guy. This is the muwakkil. Right, so it's muwakkil there. He has sent a wakil to do his business. Right. So let's say, for example, he wants to buy something. Buy me a mobile phone. So this guy's got a phone. He's going to buy the phone now. So now what happens is, so this guy, he's going to give the mobile phone to him, isn't he? Now he's going to want the money. Where's my money? So he can only demand the money from him. Right? So money, put money there. He can only get it from him. He's not allowed to go to the muwakkil and demand the money from him, because remember we said the deal is between him and the wakil, not between the muwakkil. So he says, وَإِذَا طَالَبَ الْمُوَكِّلُ الْمُشْتَرِي إذا طالب الموكل المشتري فله أن يمنعه. So this can work the other way around as well. So let's do the other way around. So there are two scenarios over here. Yeah, so basically let's do it this way as well then. So this guy is the muwakkil of this guy, right? And he's sent him to sell, right? So this guy cannot go to this guy, yeah, like that, right? So this guy can't go to this guy, that guy can't go to this guy. So the muwakkil of the mushtari, so remember this is the mushtari, this is the seller rather. This is the seller, this is the buyer. So this guy has no right to demand the phone. So this guy over here, this muwakkil, let's call him Zaid, and let's call this one Khalid. Zaid has no right to go to this guy and say, give me the phone. So that's why he's saying, وَإِذَا طَالَبَ الْمُوَكِّلُ, when the muwakkil of the mushtari, this is the mushtari, the buyer, he demands the seller for the phone. فَلَهُ أَنْ يَمْنَعَهُ, so this seller has the right to refuse Yahu, because he's going to say the deal was not between me and you, it was between me and your worker. فَإِنْ دَفَعَهُ إِلَيْهِ, but if he does hand it over to the muwakkil, jaza, that is allowed, by courts will recognize that. Then once it's been given, فَلَمْ يَكُنْ لِلْوَكِيلِ أَنْ يُطَالِبُهُ ثَانٍ, the wakil does not have the right to ask for it again, right? So he can't ask for this again. So this is if it's the goods, and the other way around would be if I was to do all that. Yeah, so Yahu jaza wa lam yakun lil wakil. So this guy now is Khalid. Khalid is not allowed to ask the buyer for the money, right? Khalid is not allowed to ask for the buyer for the money, and if he does and he gives it to him, then it's fine, right? And if he does, then this guy, the seller, cannot ask the buyer for money. Does that make sense? So let me say it again, just so that it makes sense. So basically, if this guy is the muwakkil, he is not allowed to ask the seller for the goods because it's between him and him. But if he does, and this guy, the seller, does give it to him, then it's fine. And the muwakkil on this side, he is not allowed to ask the buyer for the money. And if he does, and he gives it to him, then it's done. The seller is not allowed to go and ask him a second time. Yeah? Makes sense? Okay, so now, when you do a wakala contract, all right, let's put this over here. So when you do a wakala contract, so let's say, for example, this is the muwakkil, and he wants to appoint a wakil. Let's call this a wakil. Apologies for all the scruffiness. Don't know what's happened. So this guy makes this guy the wakil, okay? He has to mention to him, let's say, for example, he says, I want you to buy for me, I don't know, what do you want to buy? A laptop. Well, if he wants to buy a laptop, he has to mention the details, right? So he has to mention the jins, so laptop. He has to mention the type, yeah, sifa. Yeah, so for example, laptop, and what type? Apple laptop. He's got to mention all that. Or he has to at least mention, put this in there as well, the price of it. Yeah, so thaman. He has to mention how much he wants him to pay. Otherwise, the wakil will not know exactly what to buy. It's going to cause confusion. He might go and buy a laptop that the muwakkil is not happy with, and it's going to cause arguments. That's why he needs to make it crystal clear exactly what he wants. Unless, right, or he just says to him, you know what, do as you want. Just buy me something. Buy me a laptop, any laptop. Right? So if he makes it right, do as you want, buy whatever you want, then that's also permissible as well. Yeah, so man wakkala rajul, whoever makes a man a wakil, like over here, bishira'in, to purchase something, fala budda, it's necessary, min tasmiyati jinsihi, he has to mention the genus, wasifatihi, or description, or its genus and mablagh thamanihi, its genus and the price of it. Illa, unless yuwakkilahu, he makes him a wakil. Wakala amma means just a general wakala unconditional, buy whatever you want. فَيَقُول, he says to him, ibda, purchase for me ma ra'ayta, whatever you think is nice. Right? I just want something for, I don't know, for my house, buy me something. All right? Okay. Finally, last masala. Almost finished, guys, almost finished. Okay, so let's say, for instance, this is the wakil, Mr. Wakil, and this is the muwakkil. And he told him, go and buy me a laptop. Right, so he's gone, he's bought a laptop. Then he has discovered that there is a fault in there. Yeah, there is an aib. Right, now out of these two, who is the one that is going to have to give it back? Right, so it's obviously the wakil, isn't it? Remember we said any contract in which it comes back to him, he's going to have to give it, so long as it's in his hands. If, however, he has handed it over to the muwakkil, so he let's say, for example, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, he's purchased it on Monday, right? So he had it on Monday, and then on Friday he's given it to the muwakkil. So now the muwakkil's got it, and the muwakkil's now found a fault in there, aib, on the weekend. Right? He's found the fault over there. In this case, now he has no responsibility now. So he doesn't do anything unless the muwakkil gives him permission, right? Because now it's gone into the hands of the muwakkil. So the muwakkil now is the one that's responsible for his own goods. So إذا اشترى الوكيل, if the wakil was to purchase something, وقبض المبيع, and he takes possession of the mabi, like Monday, ثم طلع على عيب, then he finds a aib. So in the week he finds a aib over there. Right? فله أن يرد بالعيب, he's allowed in the week to give it back. ما دام, so long as the mabi, the goods, في يده, in his hands. Right? So from Monday to Friday. فإن سلمه إلى الموكل, however, if he was to hand it over to the muwakkil, right there, لم يرده إلا بإذنه, he cannot give it back to the whoever he purchased it from without the permission of the muwakkil. Does that make sense? All right, so let's have a look at some questions for you guys. Let's see if you guys are interested in this. Let's see how interested you guys are in understanding this. All right, so first question, how many types of wakil are there and what are they? So the answer is there's two types of wakil. One type of wakil who attributes all the contracts back to himself, like trade and renting. And the second type is the one where he attributes it to the muwakkil, like nikah, khula, and sulh. Remember, we're going to do about nikah, khula, and sulh in chapters that are dedicated to this. Okay, so in this case, in the case of the first one, the trade, can anybody go and ask the muwakkil for the rights? No. All goes back to the wakil. And in the second case, the nikah and all that, can somebody go and ask the wakil for the rights? No, they have to ask the muwakkil. Okay, next masala. If the muwakkil, can the muwakkil go and ask the other party? Can the muwakkil go and ask the buyer for the money? No, he can't. But if he does and he gets it, then that's fine as well. And the other way around as well. Okay, next question. What must the wakil know before going into a wakil contract? So he has to know the genus of the item and the description of it, and or what else, or the price. And otherwise, if that's not the case and he just says to him, just do as you wish, then he doesn't need to know any of that information. He can do as he wishes. What if an aib is found in the item before it's handed over to the muwakkil? Then the wakil is responsible. What if it's found after handed over to the muwakkil? Then the muwakkil is responsible. Khalas. Right, hope you guys benefit from this. Any questions, please let me know. If you guys like my videos, please hit the like button, subscribe, share with others. And also, if you guys want to become supporters of my channel, it means a lot to me, guys, honestly. The more you guys support my channel, the more I can make these videos for you guys. Sadaqah Jariyah, inshallah. So check out the description below. Make special dua for my patrons who support my channel. And I will see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.